The market's at a critical point right now, and if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss the move. Let me break down exactly what's happening and where smart money is positioning. I'm going to be going over Bitcoin, Ethereum, the alts as a whole, Pump Fund, Launchcoin, and Litecoin. So let's get into it. Right now, Bitcoin is still trading in this range, which isn't a bad thing. It means that we're just consolidating before the move towards the upside. The question is, do we take out this level that we've been eyeing for the past week and a half, or are we simply just going to run it up real quick? So yet to be seen. I do think there is a chance that if we do drop, we're going to see this 112 to 113,000 level. That's not guaranteed though. As of right now, we're just trading sideways. The later we go into August, I think the higher probability chance we have of breaking towards the downside. If, however, we do start taking off early August, then I do anticipate that we're going to see about 135 to 140K towards the upside. Now, alts have been taking a drop even while Bitcoin has been trading in the range, which isn't great to see because if Bitcoin decides to take another dump, alts are going to get hit a little bit harder. I'm going to show you what that means on the alt charts in a little bit. Now, Ethereum has been holding up pretty well compared to the rest of the alts. I am seeing a little bit of divergence. It's not really strong, but as we've been making higher highs, we've been getting a little bit of a divergence on the MACD and RSI. So if we do drop, as you guys can see by the lines, I do think we're going to have a space to fall to about 3,000 to 2,800 on Ethereum. So a little bit more pain to come, and that sort of lines up with what I'm seeing on the alts as a whole, because we do have a ton of resistance around the 4K level. And the good news is once we break out of the 4K level, there's not that much towards 5K. You guys can see there's a little bit right there, but I don't think that's going to hold us for long. The main resistance since 2024, the beginning of last year, has been 4K. We simply have not been able to break through that. So you can be sure once we clear this level, the next level, 4.7K, which is the actual all-time high, isn't going to give us that much trouble. It's a tight range. If anything, we'll begin ranging in this little zone until we consolidate and finally break out. There's going to be some big moves. But we do not simply attempt to break this 3 times only to make it to 4.8. We're actually going to break it and head to higher numbers. So when that happens, I think it's a matter of time. I wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback because the market is showing a little bit of divergence here. So until this divergence is cleared, I would anticipate a little bit of a pullback. It wouldn't surprise me, and it would simply be another opportunity to load up on Ethereum if you want to do so. Now, moving on to the alts like the meme index. If you guys take a look here, I was calling for a correction down to about 68 billion, and we got it. We finally tapped the first zone right there. However, if Ethereum is going to correct a little bit deeper, then I wouldn't be surprised to see the second zone being taken out. As of right now, I'm looking for signs of reversals, and that would be a break of this trend line, as you guys can see. So a break above 72 billion would signal that we're going to be heading towards that 90 to 100 billion dollar range. Now, if you guys don't know, I do actually have a Telegram group where I share plays and my ideas. So if you guys want to join, make sure to do so. The description will be down below. And then if we take a look at the AI sector is also taking a hit, as you guys can see. Not as big as the meme coin sector because this didn't pump as much, but we are still getting that correction, possibly down to about 38 billion. If we just grab the Fibonacci's right there, we can see we've tapped about the 382, and crypto likes to go a little bit lower. So we do have a little bit lower to go on there. And if we take a look at Tau, the leader in AI, we can see that we also have a little bit left to go. I have that box of entry right there. We tapped right above it. I don't think we're quite done just yet. We could be, but I still see a little bit lower. It's not that big of a difference. It's about a 6 to 7% difference. So I might be off by a little bit, but I do see a correction there and then possibly a move back to $600 on Tau. If we take a look at total DeFi, it's doing the best out of the 3 sectors. Not a huge pullback, but I am sure there's going to be a bit of divergence with Ethereum. So as you can see, total DeFi is just simply following Ethereum. So if Ethereum does well, DeFi will do well. So a bet on DeFi is simply a leveraged bet on Ethereum. And that's how I'm looking at this trade. So it's pretty easy for me right now to see that if we do get a pullback, the pullback is going to take us towards 100 billion. And that's going to be a bid zone like this was the bid zone that we focused on last time. So this is going to be a buy the dip area if we get it. If not, we're going to break through here and head towards our next level, which is about $187 billion right there. So we've got a lot of room to run. All in all, if we do happen to break above this 1.6 trillion, then we're going to be seeing alt season start to crack open. We've already had signs of it since the beginning of July. That's just the first phase. The next pullback is going to be the buy the dip opportunity. And finally, once you push up again, that's going to be the alt season that we've all been waiting for. And we're getting closer to it every single day once we crack this level right here. This is going to be all open space to take us to about 2 trillion. So that's going to be about a 40% move to the upside at the very least. And then higher is going to be about 3 trillion, which is what I'm aiming for. the end of alt season. And that might be conservative, but as of right now, that's what I'm going for. So we're looking at 3 trillion, which is a huge move. That's adding almost double what currently exists in the alt market cap. So keep that in mind. Now, if we take a look at the pump chart, which has had a lot of talk about how Elon has simply been extracting, and this chart is pretty much dead. The only reason I'm taking a look at this is because on my Twitter feed, all I saw was people trashing Pump Fund and Founder. And when there's that much hate, it gets me to wonder whether there's a contrarian trade to be made here, because the market's not expecting this. The market has simply written off Pump Fund and it's dead. And usually when the sentiment is that strong leaning to one side, that means there's an opportunity there. So even with all the hate, we seem to have bottomed out around the 2300 area. We can't really go lower than that from what I'm seeing right now. It doesn't mean we can't. I'm just saying that right now, what I can see is we have bottomed there. You can see that wick down there. We got bought up, and then we get a massive engulfing candle towards the upside. And now we've broken that trend that we have set since the 18th of July. So that gets me to take a look at this. Not only that, but it also makes me think that any coins associated with Pump Fund or on the Pump Fund platform are going to catch a bid as this begins pumping towards the upside as a beta play. So you can think of this as an opportunity for Pump Fund coins as we rotate from Bonk to Pump Fund, and then I'm sure we'll rotate back to Bonk at some point. So what we're looking at here is for us to at least return to that $4,800 level, which is about an 82% trade to the upside and possibly even higher. Right now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because I saw this on my Twitter feed. Pump Fund is buying back their tokens using 100% of daily revenue. People on Twitter started pointing this out over the past 2 days. So they're buying back with all the money they're making on their platform, which is extremely bullish. And they said it's about $500,000. So that makes me want to pay attention, because if people have written them off the game and they're still here making moves in the background, I'm paying attention. And the move here is pretty clear to me. We're going to get at least an 87% move to the upside, if not more. Now, moving on to Launchcoin, we bottomed out at about 65 million before we had a move towards the upside. Only a 40% move to the upside, not too huge, to about 100 million, which is psychological. But we haven't really had much. This was a pump to do with the flywheel that was coming out for creator coins. And we still haven't seen the flywheel that was promised for Launchcoin. So we're still waiting on that. And the market still hasn't priced that in. I think we are at a great discount for Launchcoin with some more upside to come. I really wouldn't be surprised to see this trading at $1, $2, even $3 later in the future, but we are lagging right now. But the key thing to remember is that the market is still expecting ICM season. Internet capital markets is still a thing. We can see it happening on Bonk. People are so thirsty for internet capital markets that they're actually launching on Bonk. And this new project called Water, which is essentially a water company that has water bottles in stores, are selling the bottle with the actual contract address on the bottle. As you guys can see right there, this is the bottle they're selling. And essentially what they're doing is they're selling water bottles that are biodegradable in 7 years instead of 700 years. And there's no utility behind the coin. It's simply a meme coin launched on it. So people have an appetite for ICM and they're launching it on Bonk. So this tells me that Launchcoin, once the stars align, we're going to get the move towards the upside that we're waiting for, because there is a demand for this kind of narrative. Now, moving on to our final coin for today is Litecoin. And Litecoin has been holding up so well during this dump. We actually got a little bit of a pullback. And I'm going to talk about areas of interest that I look for on Litecoin. And then I'm going to talk about where we could be possibly heading in the next couple of weeks. So for Litecoin, I'm going to keep this simple. We're going to be looking for a pullback to about $99 right there. And then that's going to be an area of interest. And I don't want to make it an exact number because dialing these things down to $1 is a bit tough. So we're going to say anywhere between $100 to $95. This is going to be the area I'm interested in buying more Litecoin. And we're not that far away from all-time highs on Litecoin this year. You guys can take a look. Right there is 144 is the target we're looking at. And the next time we bid down here at $100, I do imagine we're going to take it all the way up to 144. So I think this is one of our last chances for Litecoin to be bid at $100 before we start moving towards $144 and possibly beyond. The all-time high for Litecoin was about $400. So we have a long way to go, but these things like to move incredibly fast. Litecoin managed to make a huge move to about $400 from $4 in 2017 in a very, very short time span. So Litecoin can get very explosive. As you guys can see, once this gets going, it's up only. It doesn't really give you a chance to enter. And that's the kind of move I'm expecting out of Litecoin in the future. So right now we're simply targeting 145. And then once we crack that, we'll look for a move to 240 and 300. Still very bullish on Litecoin. It's one of my easiest plays. I don't really look at this coin too much. I don't monitor. I just kind of keep it in the background. It does its thing. But I do want to add a little bit more at $99 to $95. So still bullish on this stuff. It might move slower, but when it moves, it really moves. So that's pretty much the update for the market, guys. Do expect some pullbacks unless we crack some very prime levels. The thing you want to take a look at over here is, for example, on the meme coin index right there, you want to make sure we pop above $70 billion. On DeFi, I do think we are going to see a correction down to about $100 billion. The divergence is there. Unless we crack above 125 billion confidently, I don't expect us to continue moving here. I do expect a pullback. Ethereum, I am expecting a pullback as well. And for Bitcoin, if Ethereum is going to correct, then it tells me that potentially Bitcoin is also going to correct down to this level. So we might have some more pain ahead of us, but I could be wrong. And on the other scenario we want to prepare for is the bullish side. So that's why I'm calling out these levels, is because just because I can see us going towards the downside, it's not a guaranteed. We're also anticipating a move to the upside. And if that happens, I'm pointing out which levels to watch out for. So with that said, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys again next time.